the part and whole of the matter. Fractions, decimals, percents. For most people, hearing those three little words evokes one major thought. Where's my calculator? Understanding how to work with fractions, decimals, and percentages can be frustrating. And yet, we have studied these three quantities since the earliest days of our education, and we still have trouble understanding them. Even though they confuse us, they're very much a part of our daily lives. We use them all the time. We use them when we leave tips, when we shop for a sale, when we buy a car or a home, when we make change with money, when we slice a pizza, or even when we check food cans for their nutritional value. And for the most part, we can guess the amounts we're saving or spending without really understanding the meaning and relationship of these three numerical expressions. Yes, as we begin this study of fractions, decimals, and percentages, we will be focusing on how these values are related and how we can use them interchangeably. What we will learn is that fractions and decimals and percentages can all be summarized into one important relationship, that being the part of something as it relates to the entire whole. Just by the very way we write that expression, parts to the whole, we recognize that it is written in a fractional form. Fractions form the base by which we compare decimals and percents. Therefore, our study will begin with understanding how fractions express the parts of something as it relates to one whole amount, as well as the importance of that fraction bar. And we will look at the different operations we can perform with fractions. Since fractions and decimals are equivalents, we will also study how decimals are just another expression of the fraction. And like fractions, decimals are composed of parts that create a whole amount. However, unlike fractions, we will see that decimals have a predetermined number of parts that make one whole. Here we see 10 dimes are needed to create one whole dollar, and we only have 2. And with this study of decimals, we will also learn how to perform various operations, as well as converting decimals into fractions and fractions into decimals. Finally, we will study how percentages are equivalent to both fractions and decimals. Like fractions and decimals, percentages express a number of parts in one whole amount. As with decimals, percents are always required to have 100 parts to equal the whole amount. Therefore, we will see how percents are nothing more than a fraction. We will also begin using percents to solve word problems, which will introduce us to algebraic equations. If we understand how these three terms refer to the same quantity, the same numerical value, problems such as this are not intimidating. Research supports that more than half, and in some cases upwards to 70%, of students entering college need some level of developmental math. Yes, fractions, decimals, and percentages are here to stay. They are the fundamental building blocks for higher levels of math. So as we begin the study of these building blocks, we will learn how important they are in the foundation of higher math skills. Learning these relationships will soon give us the confidence we need to step up our performance.